कुंज विहारी कुंज विहारी दया गोपी जना वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरावनचारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरावनचारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज विहारी श्री श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा महारानी की श्री श्री गौर निताय की श्री श्री सीताराम लक्ष्मण हनुमान की लक्ष्मी नृसिंहदेव भगवान की श्रील प्रभुपाद की समावेत गौर भक्त ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha Tanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I will say a few more words about Sadachar, maybe another 10-15 minutes, and then we will proceed to sadhana part. Huh? What we think who we are will be the foundational consciousness that produces our speech and our actions. For example, Roma Harshana Suta's behavior or Devananda Pandit's, for example, behavior. These people externally they're very, very profound scholars, very advanced scholars. At the same time, there was some flaw in their consciousness, due to which when they opened their mouth or they acted with their body, for example, Roma Harshana Suta's behavior towards Balaramji, or Devananda Pandit's behavior towards Srivas Thakur. So, actually, who we think what we are produces the behavior with the words and the actions. So, when we talk about Sadachar, it is not just offering obeisances or folding the palms and Kritanjali Mudra or something like that. So, and externally also Sadachar should be followed. We don't say we shouldn't. We should follow. But internal submission is the most important aspect of external Sadachar. If there is a lack in internal submission, there is a problem with the Sadachar. I would suggest some of the devotees come to become very dense here. Come some devotees. So, at the same time, the right behavior. For example, Nimai Pandit, even though he was a very great Pandit, still he was going to the bank of the river. Last time I was telling, correct? No? We're telling he was actually folding the dhoti and giving it to Vaishnavas, and he was giving that tilaka to the Vaishnavas or Kushagras. He was laying down for them to do Gayatri mantra. Or old Vaishnavas in the water, he helped them by giving his hand to lift them out of water. So they all were blessing him, Krishna Matirastu. They were offering blessings to him. So he was rendering service and he had a great reverence for Vaishnavas. In fact, once when Srivas Thakur stopped Nimai Pandit on the way and ordered him and he said, Nimai, enough of your scholarship. Throw away all these books on Nyaya. Just chant Krishna's name, like that he said, and become Krishna's devotee. And what was Nimai's response? He just smiled and said, yeah, thank you for your good instruction. Someday I will become a Vaishnava. I will, by your blessings of Vaishnavas like you, one day I will become a Vaishnava, he said. So, in this way, whenever he talked about Vaishnavas, for example, one day Mukunda was coming and Nimai Pandit told his boys, see, Mukunda is coming, but after seeing me, he is running away. He asked the boys, why is he running away? The boys said, his students said, maybe he must have forgotten something at home or something. Nimai said, no, these Vaishnavas never like to, do prajalpa. Isn't it? Therefore he's running away and he shouted, "Hey Mukunda, a day will come and I'll become such a Vaishnava. Even Brahma and Shiva will want to come and associate with me." Like that he said. Uh, so you will find that Nimai Pandit's behavior towards Vaishnava is one of respect. Even when he was a Nyaya teacher, he had adoration, admiration. Uh, Later on also, when he went to Gadadhar Pandit, he said, "Hey, Gadadhar, right from your early age, you are a pure devotee of Krishna. You are always remembering Krishna and chanting Krishna's names and talking about Krishna. Look at me, I have been a mere scholar." No. Like that, he was actually criticizing himself, and he was glorifying Gadadhar like that. So, therefore, when he fully manifested his personality as, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that time you see his dealings with Vaishnavas like a gold standard. That time. So, our inner attitudes manifest externally as behavior. So, the inner attitudes matter also a lot. And our externals affect the internals affect the externals. For example, prayers and pilgrimages, um, etiquettes and manners, our speech and actions externally. These also affect our internals also. uh, That is also important. For example, you wear dhoti, kurta, tilak, Matajis wear sari, and tilak, kantimala, and then you come, you get one type of feeling about who you are. The other hand, you wear, jeans and t-shirt and, some goggles, and you're, wearing a gold chain in the neck and gold strap watch, and you're boarding a bike and your Reebok shoes, you're going like that. You feel you are somebody else, correct? No? Because the externals affect your internals. Similarly, one lady was wearing a new sari, a very, very thin, attractive, very gorgeous looking sari she was wearing, but it was like a see-through type of sari. And going on the road, it appeared to her, whole world is looking at her only. She thought she was feeling very shy. Why everybody is staring at me like this? When she went to her home, she looked in the mirror. Do I look so beautiful that everybody looks at me? Then she understood her bindi, instead of here, it was here. Huh? Her bindi was not here, it was here. That was the reason why people looked at her. But she was imagining that everybody is looking at me because I am. So many a time we imagine so many things about ourselves based on our externals. Our externals affect our internals. And somebody can look like a monkey and still wear a very gorgeous dress and think that everybody is attracted to me. You know, correct. Like in Pune station, I was waiting for the train. I saw one fellow. He was looking like this. In the mirror they have in the phone, no, the mobile also they have a mirror. Looking at and he was taking a selfie of himself. He looks like a monkey, but he thinks I look like some Amitabh or somebody like that. So people imagine, like a cat is looking into the mirror and is thinking he looks like a lion or something like that. Correct? So that means externally one has a very high estimation of oneself. Then that affects one's internal consciousness also. Similarly, the internal attitudes affect external behavior. That means they both are connected. So what we have to do in our life, sadachar, we have to follow externally or internally? Both. That is the whole point. Make an effort to follow externally also and internally also. Both ways work, so that they reinforce each other. Such behavior. Now I will tell you some erratic behaviors. I'll tell you. The erratic behaviors which spoil our sadachar, I will tell you. Over the years of our practice, subtly we can become boastful of our activities, of our knowledge, of our achievements and accomplishments. In the outside world, they will ask you to make a SWOT analysis, correct? No? Strength, weakness, opportunity, threats, and all that. Even when you are going to give lecture in any place, many times people introduce you. They make you hear who you are. And then you hear about it, and we repeatedly hear about ourselves. And therefore, what I generally do in all the youth programs, everywhere, I tell them, before I reach the hall, you announce about me. so that I don't have to hear about myself only. You finish announcing, don't waste my time when I come, I tell them. So, because if you repeatedly they superimpose something about you, who you are, then we will start believing that those things are true. Huh? Because generally Vaishnavas praise us oftentimes more than what we are, huh? Which is the nature of Vaishnavas, correct? They may say so many big things about us. So, but if we keep hearing and we start believing it, then we may become very proud. Huh? And that pride which arises inside, that also will spoil our speech and spoil our actions. We will want to impress the people. Huh? We will want to influence the people. We will want to control the people, and so many things will be there. So, therefore, uh, in the same manner, for example, see every sampradaya, you will see also, will always want to say that their sampradaya is very important. For example, the Sri Vaishnavas from South India, they have that pride of, 1,000 years later on also, that they have faithfully followed Ramanuja, and it is a reality. It's a fact, actually. We have to applaud them for that, for the loyalty they have for Sripad Ramanujacharya, and that is actually a feather on their cap. Even though their rituals, some of them are very, very strict and stringent in the temples they celebrate. Mm, Not all Vaishnavas will even understand them also. But still, without giving up, they are doing it in their temples. So we have to adore them for that. Similarly, those who are coming in Madhva Sampradaya, you will find they have their Ashtamatha worship going on. Even internationally, people come to take part in the chariot festival there, and also go to the Mathadipatis and spend time with them. They will do archana for so many hours in a day, sitting with the deities. Correct, no? So they have their lineage of coming from Madhvacharya, and they have their uh, joy and pride of the Madhva Sampradaya. Similarly, you will find our Gaudiya Sampradaya. Gaudiya Sampradaya, you will find we have had many great acharyas like Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur, Baladev Vidyabhushan. We have and six Goswamis. Their writings and literature are extraordinary, especially Jiva Goswami. So now every Sampradaya has some specialities which they can praise about. But while doing that, one has to be very careful not to criticize the other sampradayas. Like sometime Mahaprabhu jokingly would speak to Venkata Bhatta that why Lakshmi wants to take part in the, rasa dance. But Venkata Bhatta and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are very thick friends. You know, you can see that Venkata Bhatta had a deep respect for Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also. And this discussion does not bring about any bitterness at all in them. Rather, Venkata Bhatta says that you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, you know everything, so you explain to me. Like that he says, like that. And in the same manner, Vallabhacharya, when he dealt with Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had such a relation with him. Vallabhacharya was amazed by the love that was raging the heart of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He was so charmed, he invited Mahaprabhu to his house, he washed his feet, he took that water, and then sprinkled on his own head and the heads of all the family members. And he was longing for Mahaprabhu's association. In fact, he told Mahaprabhu, when he went to Prayag, you stay in my home only. But so many Brahmanas came to invite Mahaprabhu. Vallabha Bhattacharya became, the assistant of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Vallabhadra Bhattacharya. He decided that I have to move back, Mahaprabhu back. I should not keep him here in Prayag because Mahaprabhu is becoming attracted by the Yamuna. So let him stay at the bank of Ganga, not in the bank of Yamuna. I want to take him. Plus, too many invitations are coming for Prasad. So, Vallabhacharya also, if you see, he had a very strong relation with Mahaprabhu. Therefore, Mahaprabhu would correct him regarding the commentary he made, which he claimed to be better than Sridhar Swami's, correct? But after correcting, did Vallabhacharya turn against Mahaprabhu or go away from him? Rather, he longed to stay with Mahaprabhu and Mahaprabhu's associates. And he never wanted to leave them. In fact, he called them all to his house and fed them prasad and offered obeisances, and he won the heart of everybody after that. So, what do we learn from these two episodes, Venkata Bhatta and Vallabhacharya? We can see that when two Sampradaya people come, Uh, if their relationships become thicker, mm, more thicker when they come together, that is a good sign, healthy sign that the sadachara has been good on their part. Because if sadachara is bad or spoiled, it will only distance us. And such mistakes have been committed also. Mm. Like in IIT Bombay, they made one temple of Devi, you know, Parvati Devi, just like we have Kanyakumari, we have. Like that, there are some temples. Even in Hyderabad also, we have one Kanyakumari temple we have. Oh, Kanya, she's just like she's there in the uh, this thing, here that south, extreme south, Kanyakumari, like that. So sometimes they have that kind of Devi, single Devi sitting. They had made a temple, and some ISKCON devotees had come to IIT for preaching in those days. They thought that these guys are coming every Saturday, and our opening is also on Saturday. It would be nice, we can call them. But then when they called, it was some devotees who are not very mature. So they looked at the deity in the temple and they said, "Oh, this is a Durga worship. We don't worship demigods. We should worship Krishna," and things like that. They spoke, and it is the opening of the temple. So one has to be a bit sensitive. One should know what to speak. Actually, when we go to such occasions, Ganesh Chaturthi or Durga Puja and things like that, we should try to present their relationship with Krishna. It is not a very easy thing to present. Unless one is really, really well learned properly, one should present it in such a way that you don't hurt the sentiments of those local people. At the same time, you present something which people can take. Like in our one of the NITs, they invited us for Ganesh Chaturthi. So our boys said that we will cook for 800 students and professors. Huh. They cooked prasad. They cooked prasad and offered it to Radha Krishna picture, and also offered a garland to the Lord. And they took it all, and Ganeshji got a Maha garland offered to Radha Krishna. And the prasad served to Krishna was also offered to Ganesha after that. And then it was given to all the people. And then they chanted the whole Brahma Samhita. When the college students chanted Brahma Samhita, all professors were all amazed. How beautifully these fellows are reciting the whole Brahma Samhita and everything, isn't it? And they told some pastime relating Ganesha, and you know that pastime of Ganesha and Kartikeya getting a mango. That kind of 3, 4 pastimes they said. There are pastimes between Ganesha and Krishna also. There are pastimes. So in this way, and the whole program went on very well. Everybody was very happy. But then everybody in that program chanted Hare Krishna mantra more than half an hour, isn't it? So and then many of them actually want to become devotees also subsequently. It has to be done very carefully when one goes to other people following other paths. One should find out how to do it very carefully. Mm. When we are so. Uh, Sometimes people coming from other sampradayas, they become interested in ISKCON. So we have to know the art of allowing them to become nice devotees in ISKCON, become fixed up. Or some of them actually want to remain in Sri Vaishnava. At the same time, come to ISKCON and take advantage of the ambience and the association, but they want to maintain their connection with their Acharya also. Like even His Holiness Chinnajir Swami Maharaj. Many of his disciples come to ISKCON also. They chant 16 rounds also, Hare Krishna. So then what should ISKCON devotees do? Actually, you should respect their loyalty to their parampara. Hmm? I always tell them, see, the very fact that you're feeling such a strong connection, why should you take Diksha in ISKCON? You can remain loyal to them. And you say that you already taken initiation, not when you're a small child. After you have become 16 or 18, you have taken Diksha in Sri Vaishnava, for example. That means you are fully grown up. And then you have met an Acharya. He's a Vaishnava Acharya. So whatever Acharya has given, you do those things. Along with that, you come to ISKCON and take inspiration, in Bhakti inspiration. And if you want to chant 16 rounds, you can chant. And because Sri Vaishnava's good number of Acharyas, even traditionally also have been worshipping Krishna also. It's not that they worship only Vishnu. There are a lot of examples to show. So I that's what I tell them. And if you artificially force them, no, if you really want to come here, you have to, we will take you to our ISKCON Guru, you have to take initiation from ISKCON only. That is not proper. That's not proper. On the other hand, some people say that, I was given this Shanku Chakra and all these things when I was a small boy. I was only 6 or 8 years. My parents took me and gave me. and my connection is not very strong there, and I didn't learn anything there. And those are all very, very traditional things. I'm not able to connect, but ISKCON is very modern. I'm able to connect easily. You know, the nature of people here gels very well with me. And I want to take, if you say, no, 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 you are born in a situation, you cannot come here, you don't have to say. Huh? Okay, you don't feel that connection there, and you are not initiated fully. And that childhood initiation is a tender thing. We didn't have much knowledge also at that time. You want to come to ISKCON and connect, and we don't mind. Because you want to come, you feel the connection, you feel shelter here. We are here to facilitate you and serve you. But if you feel connection very strongly there and you want to take Diksha there, and we will facilitate you to do that also. We are simply facilitators. We want to we want to see you get a very stable spiritual shelter which will go all your life and beyond also. Correct, no? So therefore, Sadachara is a very delicate thing. We have to know proper behavior. Hmm. In the same manner, some of us may be coming from families. Say, I come from a Shaivite background. Me and Gauranga Prabhu and all, we come from Smartha background. Worshipping Shiva for many years. And I have gone to a dozen organizations before. And I have heard so many stories, examples from different organizations. We have to be very careful when we are presenting the philosophy in Krishna consciousness. You have to you will have to throw it out of the window. And we have to actually present what we have learned from Prabhupada and Prabhupada's mood and mission, Prabhupada, what faith and conviction is giving us. And we have to stick to that. And one cannot afford to keep your mind lingering in the old connections. So sometimes what happens, people come to ISKCON. So externally they come to ISKCON, but internally they maintain their heart somewhere else. And therefore, even on sitting on Vyasasana, they criticize ISKCON also. They criticize ISKCON, they criticize Prabhupada's purports, they criticize, they may not criticize Prabhupada's purports directly, but they will subtly criticize. So they will say that, this Prabhupada's purport is very simple, therefore let us go to Acharyas like Chakravarti Thakur or Bhavarta Deepika by Sridhara Swami, or let us go to Brihat Toshini by Sanatana Goswami, Laghu Toshini by Jiva Goswami, Akramasundara by Jiva Goswami. Let's go to that. Because here we are not getting much from Prabhupada's purport. Let's go there. When you say like that, some newcomers will be disturbed. You'll say, what? He's saying there is not much in Prabhupada's purport, he's saying. And because that is not the way you are supposed to speak. You should say that Prabhupada himself is recommending us to go to the Goswamis and go to the previous Acharyas' commentaries. Now, why is Prabhupada not presenting everything that Acharyas have presented? If Prabhupada presented everything in his purports, the Bhagavatam will become 10 times the size what you see now. Already people are saying, oh, Bhagavatam is 18 volumes. Imagine if all the commentaries of all Acharyas Prabhupada translated into English and put them inside, then you will have Bhagavatam which is 4 times or 5 times the size now. And who is going to read it? That's one thing. Another thing, all the Acharyas, what they have given is not necessary at this current time, place, circumstance also. There are many examples, analogies they give, which is more relevant to that contemporary time also, many a times. So Prabhupada knew the art of exact, like a Saragrahi, like a honey collecting bumblebee goes and exactly connects. He would keep all the commentaries and pull out what is necessary. And that's in Sanskrit, but he will give it in English for us. Made it very easy for us. And Prabhupada's style is what? You learn little of everything now. When you grow up, then you can go to those purports and learn more deeply. For example, Jai Vijay are standing at the Vaikuntha gate and the Brahmanas are coming. So Prabhupada sticks to the point that Brahmanas should be respected, and Jai Vijay, they dealt with them like this, and we should deal with Brahmanas like this. Even Lord respects the Brahmanas and all. And then Prabhupada says, you can also go to Chakravarti Thakur's commentary to learn more about what is said here. And there, when you go, there it is mentioned that Lord actually was angry with Kumaras. If you read that section, because they cursed his servants, Jai Vijay. And Lord actually is mystically speaking to them, which is bewildering to them, and they realize their folly. And at the same time, the Lord is glorifying Vaishnavas, especially Jai Vijay's attitude of immediately accepting the mistake and falling at the feet, and that is Vaishnavata. So this is not something that Prabhupada wants you to learn in the early stage. First you learn basic things, and then he says, now you go to Acharya's commentary and you can learn more deeply about those things. So Prabhupada only is directing us to Acharyas. So whenever we are reading Acharya commentary, I always remember that Prabhupada has told me to read this, therefore you are reading. For us, who is the connection? Prabhupada is the connection. Not that, Prabhupada is elementary and Acharyas are advanced and I have direct connection to Acharyas, then you are overriding Prabhupada. So by overriding Prabhupada, you are offending Prabhupada. Correct, no? So by maintaining an offensive mentality to Prabhupada, that's very dangerous for us. Actually, one boy was keeping long flowing hair, you know. So Prabhupada called him and said, why are you keeping long flowing hair like this? You are a Vaishnava, you should shave and keep shika nicely. So he said, Prabhupada, I saw Lord Chaitanya as Nimai Pandit. He also had long flowing hair. Jesus had long flowing hair. Therefore, I am also following them. I am following great souls. And then Prabhupada asked him, how did you know Lord Chaitanya? Tell me. Who told you about Chaitanya? He said, Prabhupada, I learned from you only. And see my style, Prabhupada said. I am shaved. So you should follow me. I only told you about Chaitanya and you are quoting Chaitanya to me? Right. So then you have to shave and keep shika. Chaitanya is Lord. We are not Lord. Lord can keep. He is actually known for his long flowing curly locks of blackish hair. As devotees, sometimes if you want to have curly hair and show off to women, look at my hair, how beautiful curly hair I have. That is nonsense. You should keep short hair and shika like a Prabhupada. Another devotee, Prabhupada, he was having a mustache, big mustache. And Prabhupada caught him and said, hey, why are you having mustache? You should clean shave, he said. So he said, Prabhupada, I saw even you have a mustache. I saw in one photo when you were a businessman. I am doing business, I thought I can also keep. Prabhupada said, that was before my initiation, not after my initiation. After initiation, I shaved it. So now I have initiated you, so you have to shave up now. See, Prabhupada gave a logical argument to him. Then he shaved up after that. So the point is what? When Prabhupada started this movement, some hippies were so straightforward and direct and bold. They treated Prabhupada like a friend also. Later on, they understood how great personality he is. You heard from Mukunda Maharaj, when he was driving car, Prabhupada had bitten and given one apple, and he also bit it and gave it back to Prabhupada. You know that, na? So they were very innocent. But we are born in India, we can't afford to be so innocent or ignorant. So, unless we have a very great reverence for Prabhupada, we are in the wrong moment. If you don't have that type of reverence. Because then what happens, many of you here, devotees, you are expert in Sanskrit, you know Acharya's commentary, you work on the Bhagavatam also. So that is one of the reasons I am talking about these things. I may not speak this everywhere. But here I am speaking because when you come across multiple commentaries and when you also know Sanskrit, sometimes with that spectacles, when you look at Prabhupada's books, small books, medium books, and Bhagavatam commentaries and all, you may tend to think that, oh, this is pretty elementary. Actually, you may say it is elementary, but could you reach nook and corner of the world to living entities who are most degraded and bring them to the standard of devotional services to Lord Vasudeva? Could you bring it? You couldn't do that, so you shut up your mouth. That's what I would say. Why? You may be a big Sanskrit scholar, but do you have the guts to go to nook and corner of the world where Prabhupada went to one place where, uh, the devotees took him to one place. I don't remember the name, Fugs, I think. These people, they were thugs. They were having nude body completely and no dress in their bodies. When Prabhupada got down from the car, they took him. All of them were sitting, men, women with practically no dress. And Prabhupada wanted to give a lecture there. And Prabhupada asked, what do you guys do? So he asked. When Prabhupada asked, what do you... And then they were saying, we are producing potatoes, they said. No, Prabhupada asked, Prabhupada asked a question, what is the goal of your life? They said to produce potatoes, they were saying. Prabhupada said, I'm not asking about that one, that's your profession. But what is the goal of your life? So Prabhupada spoke even to them. Uh, even to them. And then one of them became big devotee from that crowd. So he was later on speaking in one Prabhupada appearance day. Uh, you can imagine how Prabhupada actually was delivering one fellow when he was taking Diksha from Prabhupada. Prabhupada said he has been slaughtering animals for 10 years. So Prabhupada said, your hands are tainted with blood. But I am giving you Diksha now. Kill no more, he said. Huh? So this is the kind of, that means, Prabhupada is exactly following in the mood of Lord Nityananda, and delivering people who are most fallen. You can see that. And we may be learned in Sanskrit, we may be very vastly learned in Acharya's commentary, and you are not the only one. There are many people like that. Nowadays, if you see, you must have seen in the YouTube also, there are many, many people nowadays giving Ramayana, correct? No? Ramayana, Mahabharata, and there are people who are learned in all the four Vedas also. Huh? There are people who can recite the Taittiriya Upanishad without seeing the book at all. Huh? I saw with my own eyes. There was one fellow in my father's cremation time. One of the days, one of the fellow was invited. He just sits close to the wall and keeping his hands like this closed. Brahman, huh? Continuously recited the whole Taittiriya Upanishad. He doesn't see at all. Huh? What about them? They may be very qualified, but they cannot do what Prabhupada did. That is the point. Therefore, I take shelter of Prabhupada. Huh? So, therefore, one should not have the artificial pride that comes from these kind of achievements. Because these achievements of knowledge of Sanskrit, knowledge of Acharya's commentaries, many a times we can be deeply learned and we keep it with ourselves only. We have no power to reach it to a large number of people as Prabhupada could reach. Prabhupada's miracle is what? He was very deeply learned himself, but he only presented what people can grasp. Correct, no? And in a way by which he could bring them to the standard of becoming a devotee. Correct, no? He did all kinds of people. Prabhupada's purports are suitable for such degraded people also. At the same time, even Indians who are supposed to be more cultured and more learned, even they are able to, plow deeper in Prabhupada's purports now. Many purports are very interesting things that Prabhupada speaks to for us to discuss and churn it also. And he instituted a recitation of Bhagavatam every day in all his temples. One verse every day morning, you know. And also installed Radha Krishna deities, even in the Western world, where people, those people are give us our daily bread. They didn't even know anything about God. He made them worship Radha Krishna deities and Gaunita deities in the West. Mm. So one should not forget the kind of extraordinary superhuman work that Prabhupada has done. Uh, and one should not take his purports very cheaply. So sometimes I see some people directly put only the Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's translation. There was one devotee, I don't want to mention the name, who used to teach Bhagavatam. He would put Chakravarti Thakur's translation only. So I asked, why you are not putting Prabhupada's translation? He said, Prabhupada's translation is very gentle, very complex. Was telling, so we use. And it is not wrong to use Chakravarti Thakur's translation. It's very simple. It is. As well as Bhanu Maharaj translates it in a very simple manner. Just word to word, easily translates it. We can refer it. Nothing wrong. He's our Acharya only. We are not going to anybody else. At the same time, I would always suggest that it is important for us to see what Prabhupada says also. One example I'll tell you. It is there in, I think it's 1528. I'll show you one. uh, It's a Jadabharata section. There is one. Sorry, fifth canto. 5-8. No, this chapter, I think. Okay. Here it's going to come now. That verse is coming now. He's saying, the aho kashtam brashtoham atmavatam anupatat and all those things he's saying. Okay. Here one question he will ask our, you know, one, how did Bharata became this deer? At that time, the question comes here. He will ask, unless he did, unless his prarabdha karma pushed him to get that body, like that, there is one. This thing will come here. Here it will come now. Huh? Next, and the next one. This one. This one. Yeah. Of the world, the deer, the material body, acquired body of deer. Although he lost his human and received body of deer, he did not forget the instance. Actually, he will ask a question. 25th, huh? I read that, my dear king, in this way, Bharat Maharaj overwhelmed and fell down. And then, if it were not due to his past feet, this is what I was telling you, 526. Here you see, he says here. How could he have been attracted to the deer after giving our session? He says, correct, no? You see this, note this point. Huh? He says this. Uh, Otherwise, how he could show such uncontrollable affection for a deer? Correct, no? This was definitely, see, what purpose is. This was definitely due to his past karma. That means some past karma attachment was there for that jiva that pushed him to become attracted to the deer, and therefore he was engrossed. Then he says the king was so engrossed in petting and maintaining the deer, he fell down from his spirituality. Okay. Now you see the purport what Prabhupada says here. You know? He says, in this regard, question may be raised. How can a devotee be affected by his past misconduct and vicious activities? In Brahma Samhita Karmani Nirdhati it says. And then what Prabhupada is saying here, you see. Here what Prabhupada says. Read this one. Bharat Maharaj could not be punished for his past misdeeds. The conclusion must be that Maharaj Bharat purposefully became over-addicted to the deer and neglected his spiritual advancement. To immediately rectify his mistake, for a short time he was awarded the body of a deer. So here Prabhupada says different from what you saw in the... There he says it is... And Prabhupada only translates it. What he says? It was definitely due to his in a past life karma that pushed him to get the body of a deer. Here he says, therefore, Prabhupada's purport have to be deeply understood. Now I'll tell you the explanation what it is. See, now it goes on like this. And then here Prabhupada says here, one more thing he says here. See here. It is with this conviction that we declare in our Bhakti-Vedanta magazine that devotees like the Goswamis living in Vrindavan who purposefully commit some sinful activity are born in the bodies of dogs, monkeys and tortoises in their holy land. Then thus they take on these lower forms for a short while, and after that they give up those animal bodies. They are again promoted to the spiritual world. Such punishment is only for a short period, and it is not due to their past karma. It may appear to be due to their past karma, but it is offered to rectify the devotee and bring him to pure devotion service. There are two very, very important points here. One point is, for example, our prarabdha karmas impel us, but they cannot compel you. There's a difference between impelling and compelling. Say, somebody in the marketplace is showing some commodity to you, some glittering commodity, and you are also becoming attracted. Sometime in the train, correct, no? The item they are selling, they are attracted. So you feel like taking out the money and buying it. So you are impelled or you are, tempted by that. But can that fellow put his hand in your pocket and take out your money? Can he do that? That he cannot do. This is what your prarabdha karma cannot do. It can only tempt you, and if you succumb to that temptation, then you are likely to fall. Huh? If you don't succumb to that temptation, then you will not fall. Otherwise, what's the use of Shastra then? If you any past prarabdha karma can knock you down, then Shastras are useless. Because Shastras are there because you can study Shastra and develop Viveka Buddhi and make your free will in line with the Supreme Lord, and then you can conquer your prarabdha karmas. It should be possible. Therefore, the prarabdha karma can only impel you but cannot impel you. That's one answer. Another answer is that when Prabhupada is saying this, uses the word willful neglect. Huh? Willful neglect means jaan bujhkar neglect karna. Huh? So that means our endeavor and God's grace. You all know this example of that 2 inches too short. Right now? So his Prabhupada's complaint about Bharat Maharaj is that he has fallen short in his endeavor. So don't complain the anarthas. Complain about your lack of effort from the sadhaka's side. Many times, whenever some damage happens to us in our spiritual life, generally what we is a conditioning, people play a victim game. Aise mein victim ho gaya, aise ho gaya. Because, my friends spoiled me, or my home ambience spoiled me, my teacher spoiled me, my old friendship spoiled me, or my colleague in the office spoiled me. They always smoothly pass the buck to other people without taking responsibility oneself. But here Prabhupada wants to say that if you didn't make the effort and you are blaming others, it is simply useless. So you have to make the effort. And if you did make an effort, then Lord would have reciprocated with your effort. Correct, no? Which means our effort, and like you sow the seed, then God will give the rain. If you don't sow the seed, then how do you expect the crop to grow? So he's blamed. That means both are saying the right thing. Shukdev Goswami is saying from this side, and Prabhupada is saying from this side. Prabhupada is talking from endeavor side, and Shukdev Goswami is talking from which side? Prarabdha side. So both acharyas are talking about the same issue in hand. One is talking from this angle, one is talking from that angle. This is the kind of thing we should discuss when when you are teaching Bhagavatam. You should go to the purports of Bhagavatam and churn the purports threadbare. Analyze. Prabhupada said, study my purports from different angles, scrutinizingly, he said. This is the one point. All of you are clear about this point? There is one more point hidden in this. The punishment of the Lord towards the devotees is not the same as the punishment of Maya towards the conditioned souls. Maya punishing conditioned soul is like a police, opening his belt and then whipping a thief with his belt. Like that. Whereas Krishna punishing the devotee is like a mother pinching a child or slapping a child. Mother slapping a child actually is for the good of the child, correct, no? So, like for example, the Bharat was given the body of a deer. He was looking like a deer externally, but he was more spiritually advanced than Bharata. Because as a deer, he ate only dry grass, he didn't eat wet grass. He didn't live in his birthplace, which is Kalanjara Parvat. He went to the Pulahashrama. And he was not gratifying his senses, roaming around with other deers. Rather, he stayed in Pulahashrama and heard the sermons by the saintly persons. Isn't it? And also his state of consciousness was one of repentance, constantly weeping and remembering the Lord that I have wasted my human form of life. So which goes to show that Lord externally gave him the body of a deer, but then this deer repented. So sometimes you find such amazing things. Here I'll show you one short. See here, you can see this.
Oh my God! Just Sunny Dev Maharaj.
अरे क्या बलिया नहीं है सनी
इंसान है?
नहीं ये बस ये भगवान की लीला है सब सनी देव महाराज है ये देवफन क्या बिल्ली समझ रहे हो हाँ
3 दिन से कर रही
3 दिन हो गया
आप भी वीडियो बना लो ना
और ऐसा नहीं कोई भी मंदिर बाकी वो नहीं छोड़ा इसने हनुमान जी छोड़ रहा
सबको किया है सबको सब मंदिर में जाए इधर
भोलेनाथ से शुरुआत किया
मेरे भेज देना ये 3 दिन से कर रही
You will see.
सी खबर सूचे
It is not around for food or
हाँ।
anything.
लो मेरा भी बनाते रहो मैं चाहती
You will see that it is very, very steadily is doing.
भाभी को देता हूँ। मैं भी जाऊँगा वो भाभी मेरा भी पकड़ना। यार वास्तव में इधर का हाथ में पकड़ा ना आपका।
साथ साथ शनिदेव महाराज आए, साथ साथ शनिदेव 3 दिन से कर रही है। किसी को लो बेन लो लो, ओ बेन फोन लो मारो को।
So they give food.
Follow.
Again you will take that and again you will keep doing it.
ए मारा मुकली कैसे धरती तू?
आप जाओ ना।
वो धर एक मेरे बेटे मेरे
If they thought it is gone, again you will do it. You will come back.
चला गई
रुझान
अरे देखो पूरे सीरो में खाना
हाँ जी होता है जो आया
साइड में
Again you will come back. See?
नहीं वो तो
परिक्रमा चालू हुआ तो कोई भी आया हो तो भीड़
हो गई चालू परिक्रमा चालू हाँ
कोई बाबा
You can see enthusiasm, eh?
आगे
शनिदेव महाराज आए
शनिदेव महाराज है साक्षात
शनिदेव महाराज से
जय शनिदेव महाराज की
And it's not just, he's not just doing once or twice, he's doing for a long time. So, this type of animals, this is another very short one, this one. Think, na? Actually, this was a deer which was wounded, so they brought it and they cured it and sent it back into the forest. But again it came back. Yeah. So, Bharat was somewhat like this type of deer only. Huh? Isn't it? So, he didn't, he didn't lose his devotion service. So, that's another point Prabhupada was making. If a devotee falls down and then Krishna gives us somewhat like a punishment, in that punishment he may get a lower body, but his bhakti is visible even in that body also. Bhakti is not forgotten. That is saying, yeah. So now these are the two main points Prabhupada is highlighting in his purport. So these kind of points we have to extract and discuss. Why am I showing this to you? Prabhupada's purports can be superficially read and it can be scrutinizingly read. His Holiness Gaur Govind Maharaj says that in a ocean, if you superficially surf in the ocean, you will get only fishes, he says. But when you go deep, you get Ratna. Therefore, it's called Ratna Garbha, we call it. Similarly, Prabhupada's purports also. Superficially you read or you skip it, then you won't get much. And your idea, notion about Prabhupada will be very superficial. Because you read superficially, you also think about him. Think of him to be superficial. So who is superficial? We are superficial. Not Prabhupada. This is one place, like this I can show you hundreds of places in Prabhupada purports. When I teach Bhagavatam also, in the Bhaktivedanta Rajavidyalaya, I go to the purports like this and then I have highlighted. And then I display it on the screen, and this is the way I teach many times, taking the purports. Actually, in many times people go to the overview. And nowadays we have the Subodhini guide, correct, no? So people go to the overview, cut, okay, these are the 3 sections, and these are the translations you have read, and then people memorize the shlokas. In India, memorizing shlokas is a very famous pastime of people. Children can recite, whole Bhagavad Gita in 50 minutes, or, they can recite all 700 shlokas, then they have to be transported to Shloka Loka only, isn't it? And they can't go to Goloka, isn't it? So, that is not as important as, going into the purports and sitting peacefully and then discussing and churning and asking questions. And there are many, many things. Like, for example, you all have heard the word Dharmasya Glani, right? Now, where does it come? Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyuttanam dharmasya tadatmanam sujam. So generally when you hear the word dharmasya glani, people will say that, correct, dharma ka glani ho gaya, because what age has come now? Kali Yuga. Dharmasya glani is happening. That's what we talk. But Prabhupada doesn't say that. Prabhupada says dharmasya glani means, that we are not taking Krishna consciousness seriously. Our lethargy to take to Krishna consciousness, that is our dharmasya glani, he says. So he makes us responsible, not the atmosphere of Kali Yuga. Because if actually blaming Kali Yuga and going with one's nonsense is the easiest thing any jiva can do in Kali Yuga. Correct, na? Because that puts you on a very platform of ease. And then you can say, kya kare, duniya bigad gaya, hum bhi bigad gaye. No, purpose says, dharma se means you are not taking Krishna consciousness. Yeah. Therefore, you have to read the purports. In the purport, only Prabhupada tells these things. Similarly, here another one I'll show you. Like in the Kunti Maharani section, Prabhupada says, what is the meaning of renunciation? Like when, for example, when some new people see me, educated people and all, they say, oh, after IIT you left everything. You become a monk. क्या हो गया? Any tragedy आपके जीवन में? And people ask, you had any broken love, some girl ran away or something? I said no. And then one man asked me, आपका degree हो गया ना पूरा? He was asking. He thought I left the degree. Degree was too hard to finish or something. I said I finished my degree, worked for also 4 years. I said, okay. Then what is the reason? So they think actually if you are renouncing everything, maybe you became unhappy with the world and you left everything. Maybe something happened in your life. People think like that. But what Prabhupada says here, you will see. I'll show you. To cut off the tie of material affection means to broaden the field of spiritual activities. Here Prabhupada will say that. You can read this. See here. What Prabhupada is saying here.
To cut off all family affection means to broaden the field of activities. Without doing this, no one can be qualified as a Brahmana, a king, a public leader, or a devotee of the Lord. The personality of Godhead as an ideal king showed this by example. Sri Ramachandra cut off the tie of affection for his beloved wife to manifest the qualities of an ideal king.
You can see that. And then he is talking about the Goswamis before that. If you see here, here he says the typical example.
Typical example is a band of 6 Goswamis who followed the path of Lord Chaitanya. All of them belong to the most enlightened and cultured rich families of the higher caste, but for the benefit of the mass of population, they left their comfortable homes and became mendicants.
Who becomes mendicants? Not any Tom, Dick and Harry. These people belong to the most enlightened and cultured rich families of higher caste, he's saying. They were Brahmanas actually. And then he's saying, but they still left everything for what? For the benefit of mass of population. They left. And then he's saying to cut off the family affection doesn't mean, okay, people generally think, इतने पहुंचो ये बाबा हैं, वो गुफा में एक सिर्फ कौपीन पहनकर बैठे हैं. कौपीनवंता, कलुभाग्यवंता, वेदांतर है ना, Vedanta, Sareshu, Sadaramanta. So he just studies Vedanta and wearing a kaupin, sits in the gufa, such a Paunchaviya Baba. Kuch bolte hi nahi hai. You just go and offer, he will only smile and give you Ashirwad. People say like that. But Prabhupada smashed all such a false understanding of renunciation. Prabhupada said renunciation doesn't mean you are sitting in a gufa. If you are sitting in a gufa, you are a swarthi. Like Prahlad says. What is that verse? Prayena deva muniya svabhimukti kaman maunam charanti vijane naparartha nishtha. In those 2 lines, Prahlad is saying that svabhimukti kaman means what? They want to get their own moksha. Maunam charanti, they don't speak. Vijane, in the forest, naparartha nishtha. They have no desire to help the other living entities, he says. Aitan vihaya kripanan vimuksha yeko nanyam todasya sharanam brahmato nupashye. Prahlad says this and Prabhupada elaborates it in the purports that real renunciate is one who expands his spiritual activities. How? By traveling around the world, giving Krishna consciousness going. Our movement is called door-to-door movement. We should go door-to-door. Who did the door-to-door? Lord Nityananda did. And who told him to do that? Prati gare gare giya koro yahi bhiksha. Bolo Krishna, Bhajo Krishna, Karo Krishna Shiksha. You should go door to door, distribute Prabhupada's books, distribute the malas, make them chant the holy name. And this is real renunciation. Whether you are a grihastha, you are a brahmachari, you are. Prabhupada says sadhu doesn't mean he has to have saffron necessarily. Sadhu is one who only works for Krishna. Day and night, one is thinking about how to promote Krishna's mission, Krishna's movement. He's a sadhu. It can be a child like Prahalad. It can be a woman like Janavi Devi, Nityananda's consort. Or it can be a man. Anybody it can be. So therefore, giving up material attachment doesn't mean you give up all attachment and sleep. That is not the goal of life. We give up material affection so that we can increase our spiritual affection. Like 7.1 Bhagavad Gita says, Mayi asakta manaha partha yogam yunjan nadashraya, like that he says. So these are all in the purport. So if you don't read the purport, then you don't come to understand who Prabhupada is. So I will suggest to you all one very humble suggestion. I will give one soft copy to Prabhuji. This is the book. It's called Prabhupada Appreciation. This has got about 15, totally how many? 17 articles. It's a very good book. I will leave this book with Prabhuji. You can soft copy of the book. Prabhuji will forward it all of you. So I really love this book because when you read this book, you understand who Prabhupada is. You can get understanding about Prabhupada's personality, how deep, ocean-like personality he is. You'll understand. And he is our founder Acharya. When you develop a very deep faith in him, then you also develop faith in his books, his purports, his letters, his conversations, his mission, and then our life would become very aligned properly. Otherwise, what happens? There are people, like in Pune, one fellow came and spoke some 18 questions, that were asked by one of the Sri Vaishnavas. And then he elaborated so much. He gave 2 hours lecture and said, time is not enough, I'll give one more lecture, then one more 2 hours. Then all the people said, we all felt we have become Sri Vaishnavas now after hearing that. Actually, talking about Sri Vaishnava substance, material is not bad idea. Even His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj took to South India Yatra and gave a lot of Ramanuja pastime, Anantacharya and all that he gave. But one should know the art of presenting some nice things from Sri Vaishnava and then bringing a connection to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Prabhupada, and to our personal life. One should know the art of bringing like that. Because we should talk about how we can apply it in our contemporary current times. Rather than, some people don't know that. They start with Sri Vaishnava, end with Sri Vaishnava, and it appears there is no connection between our current practice and that. Unless, then you have to give up this and go there. That's all. It looks like that. You understand what I am saying? So therefore, proper sadachar includes all these things also. Yeah. And we should not subtly criticize, for that matter, any Vaishnava Acharya. Because such kind of criticisms will make people lose their trust in our presentation. So all of you, many of you here, you know Sanskrit, you are learned in Tika, Bhagavatam. Therefore, I spoke on these things very elaborately. See here, when you talk about preaching training, learning genuine bhakti in a systematic way, application of Krishna conscious principles in daily life, developing faith and conviction, and service to Lord, developing proper attitudes, developing relationship with devotees, compassion to people at large by distributing books and Harinam and Prasad, and becoming good preachers, and becoming exemplary leaders. This is the goal of training. Anybody is giving any training anywhere, this goal should be met. So, bhakti should be learned systematically, not just overriding. Yeah. So, one another important thing. So, in Sadachar, there is Sadachar towards our superiors, there is Sadachar towards equals, and Sadachar towards juniors. Here you can see Dhruva Maharaj, as soon as Lord touched the conch to his head and empowered him to recite the shlokas, he didn't start reciting shlokas gada 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 immediately. The very first shloka, he expressed his gratitude to Lord. Correct, no? Yonta pravishyamam vachamimam prasuptam sanjeevayat kila shakti darasvadhamna anyascha hasta charana shravanatvagadin pranan namo bhagavate purushaya tubhyam. So he's telling that, my dear Lord, your transcendental touch has spiritually awakened my senses, especially my legs and hands and ears and head and ultimately my tongue, because of which I could recite this, I'm able to recite these verses. I am grateful to you. In this way, you will see Dhruva is expressing gratitude to Lord Vishnu, and Prahlad is expressing gratitude to his spiritual master, Narada. He's telling that Narada actually, uh, you know, Narada is the one. I was born in an Asuri family. But if I'm seeing your darshan now, that is made possible only because of my spiritual master. So, therefore, in our spiritual path, our internal state of mind or consciousness should be like this. Read the first one. Deep sense of shelter and gratitude to Guru, Srila Prabhupada and Guru Parampara. I alone.
I alone cannot preach Krishna consciousness, but connecting to my Guru who brought out of illusion and helped me to chant holy name to purify my heart of all anarthas and gave me my original identity in connection to Krishna. At the time of initiation, the Jiva is accepted by Srimati Radharani through the Guru Parampara, our spiritual master. She accepts our body as completely spiritual, ascending service and descending mercy. The Divya Gyan is not just information but revealed in the heart. The sweetness that we experience in service to Krishna is by mercy of Guru.
See, this sweetness is what we call as Param Drishtva, higher taste. If you don't get that higher taste, you can't go on with spiritual life, lifelong. And it is not just some information. If any of us here, we are learning Shastra as information, it's informative. So you are learning, very soon you will get tired. Very soon, I can guarantee you. But if the Shastric information is actually awakening some sweetness or taste in the relation to your Guru, relation to Vaishnavas, relation to Krishna, then that sweetness is what that carries you forward in spiritual life. And that sweetness what we experience is actually mercy. And sometimes we become scholarly, but we don't render practical service, and due to which the knowledge remains undigested. So the knowledge to be digested, it has to be digested through seva. So that's why the disciple accepts service, ascending service and descending mercy. That means you get the knowledge. For example, Brahmaji is receiving knowledge from Lord Vishnu, sitting in the lotus, correct? No? But after that, he is given a seva. Correct? What is the service? Secondary creation. Correct? Now, Visarga. Now, he did that. Similarly, you find, Jiva Goswami is joining the ashram of Rup Sanatan in Vrindavan. Initially, he was told that, you can bring the leaves and prepare the leaves for writing. So he would clean the place, he would cook and things like that. Very simple services he was rendering. Although he was a scholar scholar who has come from Varanasi now, isn't it? He did very, very menial services for Jiva Goswami he was doing. And then twice he was sent out also. Once he was in a crocodile hole, correct now? Once he was sent out of Vrindavan and dealing with Vallabhacharya once and once with Rup Narayan for that. That means his attitudes were set right first before he can do any great literary work. Now we are doing a lot of literary work. Have we set right our attitudes? Is a very, very important question. Because Jiva Goswami was deeply learned. He wrote, like I heard, he wrote about 4 lakh verses. He's so deeply learned. But before he could manifest that leela of writing, his attitudes were set right by Rupa Goswami. And although it is not that he lacked any attitude, he did it actually for for protecting the good reputation of Rupa Sanatan. But still, Rupa Sanatan, Rupa Goswami gave him a kind of punishment for a while. And then later on, he gifted him Radha Damodar deity, personally carved with his own hands. And then Jiva Goswami manifested his scholarly pastimes after that. So the point is, the information we learn will remain information. Prabhupada writes in one purport in the Bhagavad Gita, bookish knowledge without realization is useless. In Bhagavad Gita, he writes. So the bookish knowledge, for it to become realization, and that is made possible through seva. Yeah. I suppose you give the mic.
As you are discussing about the mercy of the Guru, actually what we are getting in the form of mercy of the Guru.
Yeah.
Because most of the time we see that outside of the ISKCON also, those who are not at all connected to any parampara, nothing, they also very learned, they also doing a lot of them, they are having good qualities also, Vaishnava qualities also. So,
But there is a
how to
difference. For
understand?
example, there are many girls who are good, but they are not married. They don't have a husband. And there are women who are married, but they have become widow also, some of them. They may not have the husband, correct? No? But if there is a woman with a husband, that is very special because she is getting protection. Yeah, a widow can become an object of stares by many men if she is not protected, correct? No? And a girl may be having many good qualities, wonderful qualities, but she will be considered more stable only when she has got situated in a family life properly. Because a boy who is not married, a girl who is not married, both are unstable. Correct, no? A boy should be trained as a brahmachari, girl should be trained in chastity. Then when they come together and they marry, then they're respectable. In many housing colonies, they don't trust the boys. They don't keep the boys only. Correct, no? Because they don't consider them so responsible until they get married. Why? Because the boy is neither in Guru's ashram nor married also. So very dangerous. Correct, no? Because they can do any problem. So they are not trusted by people. And similarly, a girl, unmarried girl also, if she has come to the puberty age and everything, that is not a very stable position unless she gets married. Then she has a proper husband. Then husband, wife, that's a very stable situation. So now in the same manner, when you talk about a disciple, somebody may have even bhava for Krishna, they may say, even I cry tears also. There are people like that. But their bhava is not guided by Guru. There is no one to correct them. Even many of us thought we are great devotees before coming to ISKCON. I go in front of the Lord and some bell rings and then tears are coming in your eyes. And after taking darshan, we'll go to movie, some movie to watch movie also. That's our bhav is only that much bhav only. And the bhav lasts for a few minutes. After that, with friends, you go to a good movie, we will go. I don't know what is good movie, quote unquote good movie. We had our own idea what is good movie. Good movie is a movie where they show some temples, ringing of the bells, and then pious families they may show. And they also do many nonsense also, the movie after that. So what I am saying is our hodgepodge idea of piety and, religion and all those things became thoroughly exposed and smashed to dust by Srila Prabhupada's purports. It's all simply eyewash. If any of you don't agree with me, you have not read Prabhupada's purport where Prabhupada smashes these things to dust. You should go and read that. You will see that. Actually, the people, outside people who claim to be, who appear like devotees for you, appear like having bhava for you, that is simply a superficial display of bhakti. We don't know their depth. There are many people who can quote shlokas, who may look like spiritual people, but if you scratch a little bit, they are die-hard atheistic people. I can show you. Die-hard atheist, even after quoting big Upanishadic shlokas and all. In the same manner, there are people who have bhava for Krishna. If you scratch a little bit, you will see they are having some illicit connection with some woman. You will see that. They are not under any guru who is controlling them. Actually, being under a guru means willing to be subordinated by guru's instructions. Correct, no? Orders. So I don't say they will definitely have problem. What I am saying is they have to properly come to the classes, hear the classes. There are boys who openly ask me, Prabhuji, is it all right if you can go on for life without taking initiation? Why? Because they don't want to be surrendered to anybody. That means they can do whatever they want. Similarly, one boy asked me, Prabhuji, is it necessary to join full time in the temple? I said, no, you can marry. He said, no, I don't want to marry also. Nowadays, people don't want to marry also because they have to be controlled by wife. And they don't want to join temple also because they'll be controlled by temple. Now they want to be like a street dog having illicit connection with multiple women. And they're preparing their way to hell. That's all. That's what many boys want to do now. And they will not, they will say, no, I will not do illicit connection and all. They will say, but on and off some connection will happen. Here, there it will happen. They will fall down. They will simply become cheaters. So you cannot remain because it is not a stable platform. It's not a stable platform. There is nothing like a brahmastha. There is brahmachari. There is a grihastha. There is nothing like brahmastha. Yeah. Then they will quote the example of Bhishma Pitama. See, Bhishma was like that. Then I asked them, are you Bhishma? What was his standard? Bhishma is in the battlefield where heads are flying and he is exchanging love with Lord Krishna. He was like a lotus in the middle of muddy pool of water when he was in the Asat Sabha of Kauravas. His consciousness, mati, iti mati rupa kalpita with Krishna, it says, it was never affected, even in the middle of the court of the Duryodhana. So who is there in this world now who can say that, I can live in the middle of society and my mati will be completely pure and pristine? Then they can be like Bhishma. Now current day boys cannot keep their minds pure and they don't want to marry also, they don't want to join also, and they will be rotting. So in this way, not situating ourselves in a proper ashram and not accepting a spiritual master and thinking that I already have my devotion on my own. Actually, Shastras are full of contradictions. Why? Because when you read the contradiction, get confused, then only you will run to Guru. Therefore, they give contradiction. Because, then you understand why Vedas say this, why it says that, then you get a Guru now. Guru only can help you get out of contradictions. Then only you will understand. And they talk about extremes. So without that, now somebody may say, okay, I am accepting Diksha from a Guru, but there is no connection, there is no instruction, there is no learning or anything like that. Then Diksha Guru should put you under somebody from where there is some learning that happens. It's not that we are initiated and then, there is no further learning, no further progress, there is no accountability. We are on our own. Like Mrigari, for example, took initiation from Narada. And then Narada went away. Not that he was always staying with his disciple. And then occasionally, once in a blue moon, he visits. And then he told Parvata Muni, right? Here is one disciple living in this forest. Come, let's go and see what is he doing. Occasionally, he comes to see. Same way, Narada Muni gave knowledge to Prahalad in the womb of Kayadu. Correct, no? After that, do you think he's around the clock sitting with him? Then he went away. And then, but what had happened in that receiving of knowledge? Prahalad felt a very deep connection with Narada. How do you know that? Right now here, that's what we are saying. Soham katam na visruje tavavritya seva, is saying. How can I give up my service to my Guru, is asking. That means that connection has happened between him and the Guru, and then it's going on and on. Because the Guru gives disciple to practice, some time to practice, and then he may come and teach further advanced things, he may teach, he may go. So there are many people manifesting bhava. And nowadays, many people claim that they are devotees of Krishna and everything. But repeatedly I have seen, when I come closer and closer, I see that either they are sahajayik, or they are not following some regulatory principles, or their understanding of Krishna is very... Like one example I'll tell you, when I went to South India, my sister insisted that there is one TV show which is called Bhakti Tiruvizha, So every day somebody speaks about different pastimes and all. So one lady was speaking about this Bhishma and Krishna pastime. And she was speaking in such a Tamil, it's a very, very Ilakkana Tamil. And she is speaking very poetically and using many Sanskrit words also, very nicely. And every 5 minutes she gets applause. When I heard it, my hair was standing on end. The way she described about Bhishma's feelings for Lord Krishna and everything. I told it was almost about 15-20 minutes we heard. And then they have bhajans and kirtans and Bhakti Tiruvizha. I told my sister that, I would like to meet her if possible. and appreciate her, and we can give her a japamala, make her chant, if you can bring her to. And then she told me she's a PhD. She has done her PhD in Tamil, in some Tamil literature. She has done. And then she said she glorifies with the same spirit Durga Devi also, Ganesha also, Kartikeya also. Basically, you have to give her the topic, that's all. Huh? Neither she said. Then I said, okay, now we understand now. You know, this is what makes ISKCON devotees different from many other people. In ISKCON, you may see that people may not be very scholarly, but people have a staunch faith in, the way Prabhupada has taught us about Ananya Bhakti. Huh? Yeah. And even a very average devotee in ISKCON also cannot be cheated very easily. They know very easily. They're not demigods. Immediately they will say. You may say they are neophyte and everything. Yeah, they may be neophyte, but at least they're holding on to Krishna at least. Firmly, correct? No? On the other hand, somebody may say, I'm not a neophyte, I'm very advanced in knowledge, but what's the use of your knowledge? You're putting, 2 legs and 2 hands and 4 boats. Huh? Where will you go in your life? Huh? So therefore, many times in Pune, once we had this Yashoda Krishna, pastime, and covered boys and Krishna in the forest of Raj, So one group of Bharatanatyam girls came and performed. There were about 20 of them. The kind of performance Vrindavan Leela they put up, our bhakta, all the devotees sitting in the audience, many were moved to tears. The way in Yashoda Krishna, they acted and all very nicely. And gopis came and acted everything. So at the end of which, I was telling, all these girls can become devotees immediately. They are like ready-made devotees, I was telling. I was the president, it was way back in, I think 1999 or 2000, I think. So after that, they called me to stage to give them prizes. So I gave them all prizes. And I took the mic and I said, you all performed such amazing dance on Vrindavan Leela. And all our devotees' hearts are very touched. So we request you, please come every Sunday to our temple. We have nice classes going on. If any of you want to chant, we can give you free japamalas now. You got Prabhupada's book now. Please read Prabhupada's books, take japamala, come every Sunday, become devotees. And these are 3-4 Matajis, you can connect with them. And you connect with them, and you all are already natural Krishna's devotees, I told them. You can easily pick up. And they asked me, Prabhu, we have a request. They said, what is it? Can we make one small announcement? They asked. I said, yes. They took the mic and they announced about their Kalakshetra. They have, no? We are coming from this particular Kalakshetra and we are ready to perform dances in different places. And if any of you wish to call us, you can go to this website where you'll get more details. This is our YouTube channel, they said. And after they said, thank you for the opportunity you gave us in Janmashtami. And that is the first and last time I saw them. And they never showed up. And once I told one Mataji, why don't you call and follow them up? She said, whenever I call them, they're asking, if there is any dancing opportunity, call us, otherwise don't waste our time. That means they are only dancers. And they also do Shiva Tandav, they do Bhadrakali Tandav, they do different kinds of things. They are basically what? Cultural people. Therefore, Prabhupada writes in that Mumukshava Gora Rupan, next verse, I think 1 to 24, 1 to 25, if you read, Prabhupada is saying that many of these people are actually arts, poetry, science, philosophy, and all those who do. They are mostly in mode of passion, Prabhupada writes in that purport. Because these people actually do for different demigods. And they are not, even though they may do Krishna's pastimes very attractively, by that you can benefit, because when you are a devotee, you see those things, you are seeing from, Krishna point of view. So you can benefit, but they don't benefit. They may just do cultural. For them, if you call to Los Angeles in America to perform dance, they will come running. They will say, we go to any part of the world, we can perform. But tell them to chant one round of Hare Krishna, they won't do. And this is what makes a devotees of Krishna in ISKCON very, very special. In ISKCON, every devotee is agreeing to chant how many rounds? Is it ordinary? Like in Pune, there is one place called Sadashivpet. Pakka Brahmins. Pakka Kattar Brahmins, you say, na? That area is filled with Brahmins. But if you go there and give your japamala to one fellow and make him chant one round of Hare Krishna, even if you stand upside down, they won't do it. Yeah. If you beg them, they won't do it. And that is how my respect for devotees shot up, increased. I said, in ISKCON, even if a devotee is completely illiterate, they deserve to be respected because they have already come to the stage where they have faith in the Lord to chant 16 rounds. Not an ordinary thing. It's not an ordinary thing. Uh, that's why it says, Tepus tapaste juhus sasnararya brahman churnama granantiyate. What is that verse? Aho bata shapachoto gariyan yajjihvagre vartate nama tubhyam tepus tapaste juhus sasnararya brahman churnama granantiyate. So this verse says, if somebody is chanting, in the tip of somebody's tongue, the holy names is manifesting. Jihva agre means, this is a tip of the, so which is the naam which you can chant at the tip of your tongue? Krishna. See? Say Krishna. But when you say Rama, only two lips connect. Rama. Correct, no? Rama. Krishna, when you say, the tongue, tip of the tongue comes into picture. So she's actually talking about Krishna naam. Huh? So if anybody is chanting Krishna naam, not ordinary person. Huh? They have already done karma, jnana, yoga, everything. They've come to the ultimate platform of chanting Krishna's name, Ananya Bhakti. This is their last part of their stay in the material world. They are preparing to go back to Godhead. Not an ordinary thing, it is. So the devotees of Krishna deserve to be respected because of that. Because they have that inbuilt Shraddha to bow down to the deity of the Lord, to circumambulate the deity, read the Bhakti literatures, and they feel bhava when they hear the kathas of the Lord, and they chant the holy name, they eat only prasad. Many devotees in our ISKCON society, you will say husband, wife, children, they are totally sold out to devotional service of the Lord, with no other great material interest. So therefore, we should have a great respect for once you develop a deep respect for Prabhupada, respect for devotees, respect for the Mahamantra, then our sadachar will be aligned according to that blueprint. Why are we talking all these things? Because we need to prepare the inner blueprint. If my inner blueprint means I adore the Vaishnavas, small and big Vaishnavas. He says, uh, uh, Chota Bada Bhaktagan, Vanda Moi, like that he says, our Kaviraj Goswami says, small and big Vaishnavas, everybody I respect, he says. Because somebody may be a very neophyte Vaishnava, but still is chanting the holy name, it deserves to be respected. Because you cannot make ordinary people chant the holy name. And when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was doing this kirtan and millions of people were jumping and dancing and chanting the holy name, at that time when Rupa Goswami and Anupam, when they saw him in Prayag, no? So not in Prayag, Prayag it is? Prayag only, yeah. So they fell flat to the ground and said, Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prempadayate, correct, no? So they said, my Lord, you are not making one or two or three people chant, you are making millions of people chant. Because making people chant is a very difficult thing. People are ready to talk hours and hours, philosophy, discussion and all that. When you tell them to chant, there is problem. Regular chanting is not very easy. You start any program, what is the most difficult thing? Prasad people will take. Kirtan, they will say, why only you do Kirtan? We can also do Kirtan. People do also. And shloka memorization, people will happily do. What is one thing they will not agree to do easily? Chanting, yeah. This is the most important thing. So somebody agreeing to chant is not an ordinary person. Agreeing to chant 16 rounds. Yeah. So, in this slide, what I told was deep sense of shelter and gratitude to Guru, Srila Prabhupada and Guru Parampara. This is very, very important. You have seen this rubber band wala ball, you have seen that. If you hold the rubber band and throw the ball, it will come back to your hand. Like that, the disciples' control should be with the Guru. Like the sense of belonging to the Guru Parampara means what? Just as a wife is chaste to the husband, in the same manner, we belong to the Gaudiya Sampradaya and we have to be loyal. Our respectability for the Acharyas has to be high. For example, when the Ritvikism came in India, one of the criticisms some other Ritvik people were doing was that all these Western people have come into India and they have fallen down, some of them, and because of which, our ISKCON got a bad reputation. So they were criticizing the Western sadhus, but there are many Western sadhus who never fell down. What about them? Look at His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj. Look at His Holiness Bhaktivikas Swami Maharaj. Look at His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj. You know, you can look at many of the people who came from the West and who stayed in India. And they have spent more than 55 years now. And they didn't fall. So if you label all the Western sadhus and lump them in one box, then you become offender. Correct, no? Because it is true that the Western world ambience is very polluted. People who are born in that land, and it's very difficult for them to control the senses. But many of the names that I am taking, these people came to India at a very early stage when they were young, 19 or 20 or 22 or something, and they stayed all through. So you can't count them as Westerners. They have grown in India, and they know the Indian culture more than you and me also. They have gone to, like His Holiness Bhaktivikas Swami has written a book on the culture of India also, correct, na? Glimpses of traditional Indian life. And His Holiness Jayadvaita Swami Maharaj, I heard he has walked 20,000 miles in India in Padayatra. So he has walked with the Padayatra when he was in the early days here. And you can see how strong they are, and they are all born in the West. His Holiness Giriraj Maharaj, His Holiness Jayadvaita Maharaj, all these people. So it's not that, like, just like people compare the Indian breed cow and the American breed cow. Similarly, they compare the Indian, our Indian sannyasi. Oh, he's a Madhva sannyasi, he's a Sri Vaishnava sannyasi. They are very great. And look at our ISKCON sannyasi. As if, ISKCON sannyasis are not of high standard. But they have, imagine, 55 years of their life they have given, even though they are born in the West. So we can understand it is not an ordinary thing. For somebody born in the West to leave the comforts of the West and live in an equatorial country like this, which is a hot country, staying here, tolerating the different type of culture. See, if you are in India, you are IT engineer for about 5-10 years. Then you go to America, you will never want to come back because the roads are very smooth. Commutation is very, very smooth. There aeroplanes are like PMT bus here. People go from place to place in aeroplanes. And the houses are very big, and then lot of gardens outside and everything, But they are leaving that comfort and coming to a country where roads are so horrible. Here, Dabba roads, so many holes here and there, and the vehicles are dangerous. And many of the Western body devotees, they travel in this tum-tum in Vrindavan and go to the temple, Krishna Balaram temple. You can see how the rickshaw topples. India people drive rickshaws like this, like they've seen that. And these poor guys from the Western world are coming here. How much Shraddha they should have? Correct? No? How many of you feel if you are born in America, for you to come to a country like this, you will think twice? Correct? No? Whether to go or not. But they not only came here, they stay. One thing they understood, the country may have many problems physically, but spiritually it is great. Correct? No? India's spiritual substance is the best. So they have stayed here. So rather than adore them, admire them, to find fault with them just because to label them for the skin they have. So that means we have Dehatma Buddhi. So it is our bodily consciousness that makes us criticize those people. It's very, very. So those people who criticize, that's how they become Mahaparadhis. Those who criticize such souls. Even those who fell, apparently, personally I consider them like Abhimanyu. Because Abhimanyu had to be used by Yudhishthira Maharaj in the battle. Because if Yudhishthira Maharaj was to be protected, Abhimanyu had to be sent. So Abhimanyu went in, he knew how to enter Chakravyuha, he didn't know how to come out. He was a young lad and he was attacked by 7 Maharathis simultaneously. Although he was a single lad, he was just 16 years old. He was ready to lay down his life for the protection of the Pandavas. In the same manner, in the early days when Prabhupada, in 1965, when he started, many of the sannyas he gave to people who were 19 years old. And those who fell. But even those who fell, many of them, like Brahmananda Prabhu or, Harishori Prabhu and all, these people never left the attachment and affection they had for Prabhupada. Shyam Sundar Prabhu and all, you see. Even now, their eyes will well up in tears if you tell them to speak about Prabhupada. And they have written books also, many of them. That means their affection for Prabhupada is not affected, although they might have found the sannyas ashrama a little difficult, because they were living in the Western ambience also. Correct, no? So they didn't have ambience like in India and the culture like in India. So we should be grateful to them. All of you think for a moment, if you were in 1965, would you have connected with ISKCON and Prabhupada? I really doubt. Huh? Because at the time somebody is criticizing Dhammaradham and all that. You know, some there are drug addicted hippies, and they are the early day followers. Very unlikely that Indian. Therefore, abroad only Paramahansa Gopalakrishna Maharaj is connected. He was in Montreal, Canada. He could see that Prabhupada is gold. What Prabhupada is giving is pure. And he exactly adopted the same mood in his life, Gopalakrishna Maharaj. And Prabhupada also noticed that Indians are not coming much. Westerners are coming to his movement there. But this is one Indian boy. Prabhupada told them to take special care of him and gave him the hand over the BBT to him. He had a very deep faith in Prabhupada. So if we were at that time, I really doubt how many of us may want to join Prabhupada. Because we would only want to join a movement which is very, we are very confident of its authenticity and its prestige and name and reputation and goodwill and all that, correct? No? Yeah. But the American boys and girls who gave their life, we have to adore them for that because they were Christians or Jews, correct? No? For them to give up that and take to a Sanatana Dharma religion, another, that is also a big switchover, correct? No? For us, it's not switchover. We knew Krishna even before coming to ISKCON. But for them, give that up and come to this. It's not an easy thing. Think about that. No? So therefore, when you have that respect and adoration, then you have the right map. With that right map and gratitude, then our behavior will be in line with that. Imagine a sannyasi comes or somebody comes. How do you deal with them? They may be Western bodied. If I have some wrong, skewed, misconstrued understandings of them, then there may be some Brahmins in India, they may say. They may not take them very seriously. So, therefore, it is due to their own misconception, correct? So, what do you think who you are? That makes you do the sadachar through your mouth and body accordingly. That was the point I was stressing today. So, we will conclude with this today. Mm. Mm. And we will continue in the next session. Srila Prabhupada ki, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki. You got the notes also. You can go through the notes and come, I think. Correct, no? They can go through the notes and it will be easy. Actually, we have spent some considerable time in our Sadachar thing. Next time we come, we can spend some time on sadhana, I think. Exemplary sadhana. We will spend some time on that. One thing I didn't spend time on that is about Priti Lakshanam. I will check whether it is there. There was one very good talk on Priti Lakshanam. Chaupati counselors had come. If it is there, I will tell you. You can see that just one minute. This part 1 and 2 is there. Okay. Sure, which one is the Chaupati one which I spoke to the ACM Chaupati, no? Oh, the latest one. Is it this one? I think this is the one, I think. Huh? That is? Is it Bangalore? Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vidamscha. Is Bangalore? Not in. This is guest house, I think, correct? He's embarrassing see here? Correct, this is the one, I think. Oh, it's Bangalore, yeah. Okay, it's Bangalore, it is Bangalore. This is not the one. Actually, I did one for the Chaupati counselors, no? That was very good. That was, you can check. It's called as ACM. Please section only. It's called, this is the PPT. Probably I'll share this PPT. Yes. See, ACM Chaupati Priti Lakshanam, Art of Interpersonal Living. Very, very beautiful pastime of Krishna and Sudama, It's covered. Very, very beautiful. So this will give them very nice understanding. You see, Shivaji Prabhu, this is the one, PPT, see here. This is the one. Huh? I'll share the PPT also with you. Shivaji Prabhu, see, it's saying get started, it's saying, see here. Get started? Yeah, so you can share that PPT. So he will give you a project. Huh? So you can, that also you can share with devotees. So you know the pre-election part, and then dealing with Prabhupada and seniors, elaborately we have spoken, and culture of trust we have spoken. This much is good enough for Sadachar, I think. And then next time, let us do on sadhana, chanting and reading, hearing, we will do that. Huh? Srila Prabhupada ki jai.